Hey everybody, this is Bill at Whole Life Soaps, and I apologize for the voiceover, but the fan noise and the heat wave, it was too much to listen to. So I'm going to be showing you how I make my silicone um, coffee bean liner for my coffee soap. My liner is getting a little ratty, and so what I'm doing right now is getting ready to make a barrier to hold my liquid silicone. So I'm going to use modeling clay. You can use any kind of modeling clay that you like. I get the cheap stuff for kids, and since the weather's hot, it's super easy to roll out. So just start from the center, use both hands, and pull it outwards to make yourself a long piece. I made each piece about, I don't know, half inch high, 3/8 of an inch high, and I put that around my my template. I have a couple of cake liners that I use for making certain designs, and two of them is about the length of one of my molds, one of my loaf molds. This one happens to be a little bit longer. You'll see when I put the mat on top of it. So it's a real easy fix. I'm just going to fold a piece of it up. And then I'm going to use this particular template and the modeling clay to make myself a barrier for liquid silicone. I'm doing this on top of butcher paper, the wax lined butcher paper. I buy it in huge rolls because we use a lot of it. I don't have stainless steel tables, so we use this as a complement. And then, so you get that in place, make yourself the shape of your mold. You want the size to be accurate. It's always better if you're a little bigger than smaller because you can always cut, but you can't ever add more. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to grab a little wooden tool, and that wooden tool is going to be something that I use to smash the clay down so that I can make my barrier stick to the paper. I don't want the liquid silicone to be leaking out at all. I do eventually just switch to my fingers. Just with the heat, it seemed easier. This works better when the clay is a little colder and a little stiffer, but you get the idea. So I'm going to get busy doing that, and I'll make a comment again in just a couple of minutes. Okay, so sit back and enjoy. Okay, now what I would normally do here is get some spray adhesive and glue my coffee beans straight to the paper, and then I would pour my silicone over that. But it turns out I was out of spray adhesive. So what I ended up doing was rolling out a whole bunch of clay and made a base. And then I poured my coffee beans and pushed them into the base. This worked out really well and allowed me to get the coffee beans to adhere. I didn't have too many floaters because if you don't adhere your objects very well, they will float up into the silicone. So I only had like 3 or 4 beans float up, and it worked out pretty good. So I'm just going to get my beans set up, and we'll look at the finished product in just a minute.
Here we go, making really getting icy zone, flexing, I've been swerving, make it trendy, we look sexy. Here we go, making really getting icy zone.
All right, folks, the next step in this process is to figure out the volume of material that you're going to need. If you notice, I have a yellow bucket marked part A and a blue bucket marked part B. This is my Mold Star 20T silicone material that I get from Reynolds Industrial in Los Angeles. But this stuff is a great product. It has a pot time of about 5 minutes, and it takes about 30 minutes to totally set up. So I'm going to calculate the volume of this. It's a 32 inches long, it's by 5 inches wide, and it's about a half an inch high. And that comes out to about 80 cubic inches. So I go online and I just search for a cubic inch to ounce converter, and 80 cubic inches for me is going to be 44 ounces of material. So what that means is I need 22 ounces of part A, which is in the red cups, and 22 ounces of part B, which is in my mixing container. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pour part A and into part B, and I'm just going to use like a wooden stir stick. You know, this way I don't ruin any of my soap utensils or anything like that. The cool stuff about this is once you pour it into your mold, if you just leave the stick in the main pot, once it's all dry, you can just pull the whole thing out and your pot's clean and good to go. You don't have to waste a lot of plastic mixing containers that way. I can't say the same for part A because that's not going to set up on its own, but it works well for that larger tub. So anyway, I'm going to mix this and get it going. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so it's been about 30 minutes. I had to stop the camera. Some customers came into my shop, so I had to help them. But I was going to try to do a time lapse, but I was running out of space as well. So, you know, I need a better memory card, I guess. But anyway, once it's hard, you can just pull it right out. You notice the coffee beans stick to the mold a little bit. So I'll have to pull those off. But when it's all said and done, you're going to have a long piece of silicone that has coffee bean impressions in it that will leave like a coffee bean look on top of your soap. They look real because the coffee bean makes a really good impression inside that silicone. So it's going to take me about probably 10-15 minutes to get the coffee beans off, but then I'll have a mold. I did have to trim it a little bit. It was a little on the wide side, you know. But as I said, I would rather it be a little bit bigger than not big enough. So, you know, it was slightly wide. I think I was a 1/4 inch off. So I just went back. I took my carpet knife that I have there and I trimmed it, and it turned out really nice. And folks, it's literally like 30 minutes later. I've cleaned up that coffee bean silicone liner. You can see it inside of my loaf mold. It fits perfectly. I went ahead and made my coffee soap. I had the lye mixture going a couple of days ago because I make a cold brew coffee and then I use it to make lye the day of. And then you just pour it in and it's going to make a beautiful coffee soap. This soap will be available online at our store probably around middle of August, maybe 1st of August, depending on how long it takes to cure. But because I only have the one mold that is working for me at the moment, I'll probably make one of these a day for the next couple of days and get myself 3 or 4 good blocks because I like to have about 200 bars of anything at one time, you know. But I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks so much. Visit our website, wholelifesoaps.com, and we'll see you. Thanks.